The story starts with this young loser fatty named Yuuya who basically lives in a world that treats him like he doesn't exist. Nobody ever gives him attention, but somehow he still believes he can help people and maybe make the world a little better. One day while walking through an alley, he hears some gooners messing with a girl. She keeps telling them to back off, but of course they act like clowns. Yuuya steps in and tells them to stop, but the moment they see his chubby body, they start laughing at him instead. That mockery fires them up even more, and they beat him down without holding back. But when the police siren gets closer, the thugs finally take off. The girl tries to check if he's okay, but Yuuya brushes it off and tells her he's fine before heading home. While walking back, he remembers what his grandfather always told him to help people even if no one helps you. And as soon as he reaches the house, all the bullying memories start flooding in again. Even his own family made fun of him for being fat. The only person who ever treated Yuuya like a human was his grandfather, who kept telling him to stay kind because someday that kindness would come back to him. But after his grandfather died, Yuuya had no one left. The only good thing was that his grandfather left the whole house to him. His parents tried to snatch it away acting like hyenas, but the old man had already prepared everything legally, which forced them to leave empty-handed. That made them so angry they cut him off completely. Now he just lies on the floor of that huge house, alone with his thoughts. A few days later, he goes to his middle school graduation, and of course some bullies drag him to a corner and beat him again. Even his own siblings stand far away watching with little smirks like they're enjoying the show. After they get tired and leave, Yuuya forces himself up and heads to his part-time job. But when he reaches the office, his boss gets mad at him for being late and fires him instantly. Tired of everything, Yuuya goes home and cooks instant noodles. When he thinks about all the crap he went through, he starts trembling, and then he looks at himself in the bathroom mirror. But he breaks it with a punch. He feels like nothing is ever going to change. But something weird happens when he is furiously punching the wall in frustration. The wall suddenly flips and reveals a hidden room. Inside the room are all sorts of strange souvenirs his grandfather collected, and in the middle, there's a mysterious door. Yuuya touches it, and a holographic screen pops up out of nowhere. He freaks out a bit, but sees he somehow obtained a bunch of skills. When he uses appraisal on the door, he learns it's actually a portal leading to another world. Excited, he checks all the skills one by one and sees that this door can only be used by him since he owns the house. But when he opens his stat page and sees all his stats are just 1, he almost dies from depression. Still, he notices he got 120 stat points as a starting bonus, so he feels a little hopeful again. Looking out the window of the Ice Sky house, he realizes this really is another world. Then he finds a letter explaining that the house originally belonged to someone called Sage, and that Sage left everything to Yuuya after dying. He even finds a sword, which the system says is the strongest sword in the entire world. Feeling a bit brave now, Yuuya steps outside wondering if the land also belongs to him. The system confirms everything inside the fence is his, so he starts running around freely. But with his heavy body, he ends up tripping and crashing into the ground, and even that somehow gives him a weird skill. He keeps training anyway, swinging the strong sword and messing around with all sorts of broken weapons. Then the system casually combines all his skills into one big true martial arts skill. Right then, a giant ogre appears outside the fence roaring like it wants to eat him alive. It's a level 300 bloody ogre, so of course Yuuya freaks out. Even though he knows it can't enter his territory, he still gets scared by how huge it is. However, he gathers up some courage, grabs one of his ultimate weapons, and throws a spear straight at the monster. To his surprise, the spear goes straight through the monster like it's nothing, dropping the huge ogre in a single hit. All the crazy experience points shoot Yuuya up to level 100, and suddenly every one of his stats jumps to 1,000. When he checks the ogre's corpse, he notices it dropped some rare materials, so he picks everything up. After that, he spends the bonus points he got from leveling, pushing his stats even higher. Feeling tired, he decides to head home, but the system pops up again and tells him he can exchange those materials for money. Yuuya shrugs and agrees, and somehow he ends up getting over 1,000,000 yen. He takes the money home with the happiest face he's had in years. Later that night, while he's sleeping, his body quietly transforms from all the stat boosts. Next morning, Yuuya wakes up and sees his reflection in the broken mirror frame. But since the glass is shattered, he still doesn't realize he's basically a full-on Chad now. For the next few days, he keeps switching between the real world and the Ice Sky one, farming legendary herbs and beating up mythical monsters like it's normal. At one point, he even runs into a nether slime that drops a rare magic necklace. Eventually, he uses the money he made in the other world to pay his upcoming high school fees. Still, he feels nervous about going back to school because he can't use the same broken stats in the real world. Next day, he walks to school, and everyone starts staring at him like he's some celebrity. Even his siblings follow behind. They are confused about who this handsome guy is. When Yuuya sits in his class, the bullies ask who he is, and he gets scared for a second thinking they're gonna start beating him again. But the moment he says his name, the whole class freezes. They can't believe the fat loner turned into this in just a few days. Feeling weird about their reactions, Yuuya rushes to the bathroom and finally sees himself in a working mirror. That's when he realizes how much he changed. Later that day, he gets called by a mysterious rich-looking girl surrounded by elite guards. Yuuya doesn't recognize her at first, so she reminds him about the day he protected her from those thugs in the alley. When he finally remembers, he asks how she even found out his name. The girl explains she did a bit of research to thank him properly, then introduces herself as Kaori. To repay him, Kaori invites Yuuya to her elite academy called Aosei High. But Yuuya immediately thinks he's not good enough to join a school like that. So his siblings randomly jump in and tell Kaori to accept them instead. She shoots them down instantly and makes it clear there is no way she would take in bullies like them. Kaori tells Yuuya that her school cares more about building character than raw intelligence, which means he'll be fine. Her bodyguard suggests showing him around the school instead of explaining everything, which leads them to bring Yuuya to Aosei High. It's an insanely elite academy that almost guarantees success for its students. While Yuuya is still trying to process everything, his siblings grind their teeth in frustration, swearing revenge over being humiliated. Soon Yuuya is sitting in the chairman's office. Chairman Tsukasa, who turns out to be Kaori's father, greets him warmly. When the chairman thanks him for saving his daughter, Yuuya feels awkward, as if he doesn't deserve that much praise. Kaori calmly reminds him that he helped her while everyone else ignored the situation. Her father nods and says he needs students like Yuuya, people with real character. Tsukasa tells him he won't charge any tuition at all, but Yuuya still feels guilty because he thinks joining such a genius school without the qualifications is unfair. The chairman just smiles and says talent means nothing without effort. He tells Yuuya he can discover his own hidden abilities if he works hard in their environment. That motivates Yuuya a lot, and it reminds him of his grandfather's words. Then a teacher named Sawada enters the room. She also encourages Yuuya and tells him to be more confident. Tsukasa thinks she'll be a great teacher for him because she's friendly and easy to talk to. A little later, Yuuya is taken to a classroom for a trial session before officially joining the school. Standing outside, he gets nervous, but still pushes himself to walk in. After introducing himself, the whole class goes silent again, and Yuuya immediately assumes they're laughing at him inside. But actually, everyone is just stunned at how good he looks. Sawada snaps them out of it and tells Yuuya to take a seat. Once he sits down, she tells him to share a book with his desk partner Hayadu. Before he even says anything, Hayadu silently moves the book toward him. Yuuya thanks her, but she only nods quietly, which makes him think she is silently judging him. During the lesson, he realizes the syllabus is pretty much the same as his old school, but the students here actually talk with the teacher more openly. After class ends, everyone gathers around him, curious to know everything about him. A boy named Ryu notices Yuuya getting uncomfortable and tells everyone to give him space. Then he asks if Yuuya wants to be friends, and Yuuya is surprised by how genuine he sounds. Ryu brings him to the cafeteria, and Yuuya learns the school food is amazing and cheap, plus every student gets a free meal daily. After grabbing their lunch, Ryu takes Yuuya to their table where another boy, Shingo, is waiting. They start talking about anime, and Yuuya feels relieved that even geniuses have normal hobbies. He also notices other students staring at him, and Ryu tells him it's just because he's too good looking. Then Shingo pulls out a game console, explaining he's in the gaming club. Yuuya is shocked the school allows it, but Shingo says the teachers trust the students not to play during class. Soon the three of them start gaming together. At the end of the day, Chairman Tsukasa calls Yuuya again to ask if he liked the school. Yuuya nods and tells the chairman the classes were actually pretty easy, and the students treated him way better than he expected. Hearing how happy he sounds, Tsukasa asks if he finally decided to join the academy, but Yuuya still doesn't feel fully confident. So Tsukasa looks him straight in the eyes and says he personally thinks Yuuya is worthy of the school, so he shouldn't be afraid of anything. With that final push, Yuuya finally accepts and steps out of the office. Outside, he finds Kaori waiting for him. She asks if he decided to join their school, and Yuuya nods shyly. Hearing that, Kaori asks if he wants to hang out with her for the evening. A little later, the two of them sit together eating ice cream, and Yuuya feels thankful that he made some money in the Ice Guy world, or else he couldn't even afford this. While holding his huge ice cream cone, he suddenly starts worrying if eating this much junk will make him fat again. Remembering how he used to look, Yuuya asks Kaori how she recognized him so easily at school even though he changed so much. She looks confused and says she could tell it was him the moment she saw his kind eyes. Yuuya gets embarrassed hearing that, but then Kaori suddenly gets mad that he's still not calling her by her first name. She demands he start using it already, and Yuuya gets all flustered before awkwardly agreeing. She instantly smiles, happy that they're officially friends now. Next day, Yuuya heads back into the iSky world to farm more money for his time at Aosei Academy. After grinding for a while, he notices he reached level 235, and he starts wondering if he's finally strong enough to leave the safe area and fight some real monsters. But the moment he steps out of the fence, he hears desperate screams coming from the forest. Yuuya rushes toward the sound and finds some adventurers brutally cut down by a goblin general. When the monster turns around, Yuuya gets scared just from looking at its insane stats. Still, he notices a human girl trembling behind it, so he pushes his fear aside and charges in. The goblin general swats his spear away like nothing, but Yuuya uses that distraction to jump up and land a flying kick right into its face. The monster collapses, but before he can relax, the girl suddenly warns him there's another one behind him. Yuuya barely dodges as the second monster sends him crashing into a tree. Realizing he can't win with just one weapon, Yuuya jumps over it with his spear in hand, then quickly switches to his void bow and fires a bunch of arrows straight into the monster. When it's staggered, he pulls out his ultimate sword, then finally slices the creature clean in half. After the monster fades away, Yuuya runs over to the girl, but she passes out from exhaustion before she can even speak. Yuuya thinks for a second about saving her again, but right when he's about to move, the girl's guards show up out of nowhere. So he goes invisible like a good little wizard and slips away. Later on, he keeps wondering if that girl is doing okay, but then again, she had guards, so she should be fine. While thinking about all that, he suddenly realizes he's been wearing the same damn outfit every single day like some NPC. So he decides to go buy some clothes for once. Meanwhile, at the mall, a manager named Hikaru is losing his mind because the male model for their photo shoot didn't show up. The model Miyu tells him they can just cancel the whole thing, but Hikaru starts roaming around the mall looking for a random guy to replace him. Somewhere else, Yuuya is struggling to pick clothes like the socially confused creature he is. A couple of girls approach him, and he instantly assumes they're trying to sell him something. But no, they just want to hang out with him. Since Yuuya is a polite maidenless king, he gently rejects them so their feelings don't get hurt, and the girls basically freeze because nobody expected that. After leaving the store, Hikaru spots Yuuya on the escalator and drags him straight into a photoshoot he never asked for. Yuuya feels super awkward, but seeing how Miyu poses so confidently, he decides to try his best too. Back in the other world, the princess Yuuya saved is sitting on her bed, still thinking about the mysterious guy who helped her. She wants to go look for him, but her guards remind her that he lives in literally the most dangerous place ever. She ignores them and tells them to gather everyone because she's going anyway. At the mall, Miyu thanks Yuuya for helping out. Yuuya nods and says he never knew modeling was this tough. He admits that when he was ugly in the past, he could only look at models from far away and think they were perfect. But now he understands they deal with insane pressure and routines just to look good on camera. Then he asks why she even became a model, and Miyu explains she just wanted someone to notice her since her parents barely cared about her. Now she actually enjoys her work and tells Yuuya he should try to enjoy whatever he does in life too. While the two of them talk, Hikaru secretly snaps pictures of them like the sneaky manager he is. Out of nowhere, the guy who was supposed to be Miyu's partner, Shu, finally shows up. The moment Miyu sees him, her mood drops. His fans freak out over him, but he shuts them up and walks straight to Miyu, trying to flirt with her like he owns the place. Miyu tries to step back, but he corners her against the wall, forcing her to agree to go out with him. Yuuya sees she's uncomfortable and politely tells Shu to move away. Shu gets mad and tries to punch him, but Yuuya dodges easily and throws him to the floor like it's nothing. Yuuya starts panicking, thinking the fans will hate him for beating their idol, but instead they start cheering. Hikaru even shows Shu a video of him trying to force himself on Miyu and assault Yuuya, pretty much ending the guy's whole career. After Shu storms off, Hikaru thanks Yuuya, saying Shu has always been a pain for them. Miyu looks relieved too, telling them that Shu has been stalking her for days like a creepy weirdo. Hikaru is shocked and tells her they're calling the police for sure. Then he turns to Yuuya and asks if he wants to sign a modeling contract. Yuuya thanks him, but says he's not good enough yet to be a real model. Hikaru respects that and gives him bags full of fancy clothes as a thank you gift. After thinking for a bit, Yuuya accepts and heads home. As Miyu leaves with Hikaru, he complains that Yuuya didn't accept the offer. Miyu just blushes at a picture of Yuuya and Hikaru starts teasing her non-stop. She denies everything, of course. Meanwhile, Yuuya goes back to the Ice Sky world. Princess Lexia watches her guards fighting some huge monsters. A giant beast sneaks behind her, but Yuuya appears instantly and slices it down. The guards are shocked as he wipes out the rest of the monsters like it's a warm-up. After the fight, Yuuya starts healing the injured guards with his potions. Lexia walks up to him, slowly trying to calm her nerves. Then out of nowhere, she asks Yuuya to marry her. Everyone freezes on the spot. Owen, her lead guard, quietly reminds Lexia that she's acting way too careless for a princess. He even points out they don't really know if Yuuya is someone they can trust. But Lexia just declares it's love at first sight and tells him not to get in her way. The two of them keep arguing like that, while Yuuya, feeling awkward, tells them they can continue their talk inside his house. When they reach his place, Owen gets shocked that someone actually lives in this pitch-black danger zone of their kingdom. He introduces himself properly as Lexia's guard, and she finally reveals that she's the princess of Arcelia. Yuuya freezes when he hears that, wondering if he messed up earlier by treating her like a normal girl. But Owen tells him it's fine since this is an official visit, then asks for Yuuya's name. When they hear his weird Japanese name, both of them start assuming he must be some noble from another country. Owen then explains they've been searching for him just to thank him for saving the princess. To prove it, Lexia suddenly steps up and corners Yuuya again, happily declaring she fell in love with him on the spot. She even says they should get married, but Yuuya panics and says it's way too early for that. Seeing him hesitate, she backs up a little and says fine, then they should at least become friends first. When the two finally agree to be friends, Owen tells Yuuya the king himself wants to meet him to say thank you. Yuuya nervously asks if the king can wait a bit, and Owen says yes, he can decide the timing. After that, Lexia and her guards finally leave. Somewhere else, a messenger gives bad news to his master, saying all the assassins he sent after Lexia were killed by monsters in that forest. The master wonders how the princess survived when even trained killers died, and he gives the messenger one last chance. As the guy leaves, the master mutters that he'll never forgive Lexia for what she did. A few days pass. Yuuya goes to Aosei High for his first day. When he walks into class, Sawada introduces him all over again. After class, everyone heads out and Yuuya watches Ryu stomping through his opponents like it's nothing. While he's watching, a girl named Keed sits next to him. Out on the field, the boys keep playing, but someone accidentally kicks the ball straight at Keed. Right before it hits her, Yuuya somehow reacts in an instant and kicks the ball away straight into the other team's goal. The entire ground goes silent. Everyone is like, how did he move so fast? Yuuya turns to Keed and asks if she's okay, and she gets flustered because he's being too kind. The guy who kicked the ball runs up and apologizes, and Keed forgives him right away. As thanks for her kindness, he even offers to become her slave, but Keed immediately rejects him because she doesn't want some dude following her everywhere. Then the guy turns to Yuuya and introduces himself dramatically as Akira, the shining star of Aosei. Ryu instantly calls him a fraud since nobody actually gave him that title, and everyone laughs. Later, all the girls start surrounding Yuuya, praising him for his insane save earlier. Kaori walks in confused and asks what happened. Keed excitedly explains the whole thing, while Haidu tells Kaori that Yuuya basically saved her face from being crushed. Some girls nearby start wondering if this handsome dude already has a girlfriend, and Kaori suddenly feels insecure hearing that. A bit later during class, Kaori waves at Yuuya from the playground window. But suddenly a bunch of delinquents break in with their bikes, scaring all the girls. The teacher stops everything to deal with it, and the students whisper that it's the Red Ogre Gang. Hearing that name, Yuuya freezes because those are the exact bullies from his old school. Out in the yard, Kaori asks them why they're here. Yuuya's siblings step forward and say they're here to get revenge on her for inviting Yuuya to transfer schools. Kaori tells them to stop, but the delinquents decide to take her hostage before the police show up. Inside the class, Yuuya thinks about helping her, but the fear of facing his past monsters hits him again. Even though he's stronger now, his heart still trembles. All his classmates worry as they watch him struggle. Suddenly, he slaps his own face to wake himself up and jumps out the window. Everyone screams because that's a 4-story fall. But somehow he lands fine and runs straight to Kaori. The bullies try to hit him with bats, but he dodges every swing and knocks them down one after another. Then he ignores the lead bully and goes to rescue Kaori from the kidnappers. But then a giant dude steps forward, thinking his strength can crush Yuuya's speed. When the giant charges in, Yuuya stops him with one arm and sends him flying. After that, Yuuya walks over to Kaori, while the remaining bullies stay frozen in fear. Suddenly, their leader revs his bike and charges at Yuuya. Yuuya dodges again, but the leader keeps swinging past him, and finally Yuuya jumps high into the air. With no target left, the leader crashes straight into the building and his bike explodes on impact. Soon after, the police and ambulance arrive. Yuuya supports Kaori as she collapses into his arms from exhaustion. Meanwhile, as the police drag the bullies away, the leader grabs Yuuya's little brother by the neck, furious at being humiliated. His sister begs him to stop, but the guy keeps choking the kid, and the police hold back so the situation doesn't get worse. Yuuya steps in, grabs the leader's arm, and shoves him away like he's nothing. He checks if Yuuya is okay, but the leader tries to attack again. The moment Yuuya turns around and glares at him, the bully freezes and gives up. Yuuya asks why Yuuya helped him, even though he bullied him for so long. Yuuya tells him that even if he hasn't forgiven them, he can't just ignore his family. His simple words break both siblings into tears. A few days later, Yuuya gets ready to explore the ice sky world again. Standing by the door, he remembers Owen telling him that the forest he lives in is actually called the Darkest Reaches, the most dangerous place in the entire world. Yuuya still wonders how that mysterious sage managed to build a whole house in a place where normal people would die in 5 minutes. But he steps through the gate anyway. After walking around for a while, he sees a little wolf pup getting beat up by an orc. The pup is growling with all its might, but it's way too weak to fight back. Hiding behind a tree, Yuuya gets scared when he sees the Orc King's stats 20,000 attack. He thinks to himself that risking his life for some random pup is a terrible idea, but the little guy's cries are too painful to ignore. So Yuuya finally jumps into the fight, prepared to die if it comes to that. Except he one-shots the Orc King like it's nothing. He gets embarrassed afterward, wondering why he was so scared. He remembers that even at level 1 he managed to take down a level 300 bloody ogre, so maybe it's normal for him to beat monsters way above his rank. Then he notices the wolf pup glaring at him. Yuuya tries to calm it down with a healing potion. After treating its wounds, he asks if it's lost. The pup shakes its head. Then he asks if it lost its parents, and the pup quietly nods. Feeling bad, Yuuya offers to let it live with him. The pup immediately brightens up. When Yuuya checks its stats, he realizes it's actually a black Fenrir with over 10,000 power. After taming it, he gives the little guy the name Knight and takes him back home. Once inside, Yuuya notices his level didn't go up even after defeating the Orc King. He wonders if this world's leveling system is just weird, but decides not to think too hard about it and returns to the real world. Later in class, Yuuya asks his friends if there's any pet shop nearby. Ryu tells him about one while Keed quietly listens. The boys are too busy to go with him, so Keed jumps at the chance to go out with Yuuya instead. After they buy all the supplies, Yuuya returns home and gives Knight a collar and leash. Knight looks adorable, so Yuuya takes him out for a walk. While walking, they run into Kaori. She gets excited seeing Knight and pets him while asking what breed he is. Yuuya casually says he found Knight abandoned on the street. Kaori notices Knight seems really happy with him. But then Miu suddenly appears and Yuuya wonders why she's here. She says her home is near the park. So he introduces Kaori and Miu to each other. But seeing a famous model talk with Yuuya so casually makes everyone around stare like crazy, so Miu decides to leave before the rumors explode. Before going, she tells Yuuya she'll see him again since she often walks here. As soon as she's gone, Kaori nervously asks if Yuuya is dating Miu. He quickly denies it, saying someone like him could never match a model. Kaori shakes her head and tells him he's definitely good enough for someone like her. Just then, a woman screams nearby as a thief steals her purse. Without thinking, Yuuya tells Knight to go after him and stays behind to comfort the woman. Knight brings the thief back by dragging him with his teeth, and Yuuya tells Kaori to call the police. The thief struggles so much that his clothes rip apart, and he tries to attack Kaori while screaming like a maniac. Yuuya stops him in a second and pins him to the ground. Kaori thanks Yuuya again, and soon the police arrive to deal with everything. After that, Yuuya heads back to the Ice Sky world with Knight to explore deeper areas of the forest. Along the way, the two of them casually beat down monsters and even kings like it's part of their daily routine. Eventually, they stop after spotting a rare crystal deer. Yuuya learns that the deer can use magic, so he tries to plan ahead. But the deer senses him first and slowly starts walking toward them. Knowing they're already exposed, Yuuya charges in with Knight. The deer rushes forward and Knight goes for one of its antlers, but the deer shakes him off with an explosion spell and then fires a massive beam straight at Yuuya. Realizing they can't win head-on, Yuuya tells Knight to distract it. Knight starts running circles around the deer, making it panic as its attacks keep missing. Then, when the deer gets confused for a moment, Knight lands a solid hit and Yuuya jumps in to finish it with a final slash. With the deer gone, Yuuya collects the drops and finds a luxury portable bath set among the items. The forest feels too dangerous to continue, so he heads home. That night, the two of them sit in a warm bath and relax like kings. Days pass. Yuuya keeps exploring the forest at night with Knight by his side. One night, they run into a fast needle roller and take it down together. After checking his stats, Yuuya notices that his level finally went up and Knight's level increased too. But then the rocks behind them suddenly collapse because of the battle damage, revealing a huge cave. Yuuya walks in with Knight, and one by one the torches light up on their own. Eventually, they reach a creepy ritual site. Knight growls at a decaying corpse lying on the floor with a book next to it. Yuuya picks it up and reads the title. It's the Book of the Sage, and he's completely shocked. As Yuuya reads the book, he finds out that the sage actually became so strong that he gained the power to move up to a higher realm. But instead of going there and joining those higher beings, the guy refused and chose to stay human. In his book, the sage writes to his successor Yuuya, saying that he has a crazy amount of power inside him, and one day people around him will get scared of him for it. But he warns Yuuya not to follow the same lonely path he did, because that life only ends with regret. Yuuya sits there wondering how he's supposed to stop himself from ending up alone like that, and suddenly he hears the sage's voice inside his head. The sage tells him to make real connections with people, friends he can trust, and relationships that won't fall apart. Yuuya just sighs, because honestly making friends is already hard enough for a guy like him. But the sage tells him he doesn't need to rush anything. Then the sage explains that even though Yuuya has massive magical power, he doesn't have the proper magic circulation system from this world to actually use it. Luckily, the sage already prepared his own magic circulation system inside the book, and it suddenly gets absorbed into Yuuya's body. Just like that, Yuuya is blessed with real magic talent. After the glow fades, the sage says his final goodbye, wishing Yuuya the happy life he himself never had. Yuuya pays his respects and heads back home, with the book ready to finally try using magic. After focusing for a while, he finally feels the magic energy moving inside him and unlocks the ability to use spells. He learns that to cast magic, he only needs to imagine the effect he wants. But if he gives the spell a name, it activates much faster. With that in mind, he goes out to the backyard to practice. He creates a water ball in his hand, and when Knight sees it, the wolf makes his own water ball too. Then they fire them at a tree. Instead of stopping at one tree, the small water balls pierce straight through an entire line of trees, leaving a long trail of destruction behind them. Meanwhile, at the Arcelian royal palace, Owen is reporting Yuuya's situation to the king. But Owen talks too much and accidentally lets it slip that Princess Lexia fell in love with Yuuya. The king instantly turns red with rage, ready to murder someone. Back in the real world, Yuuya is sitting in class thinking about how all of the sage's knowledge comes from personal research, so none of it exists in the other world. Then Sawada announces that their class will be going camping soon. Yuuya gets grouped with Keed and Akira, and the last member, Rin, introduces herself. Yuuya asks what he should prepare since he honestly has no idea. Keed suggests they all go shopping together. So Yuuya heads out with his group and a few friends. Everyone gets surprised seeing Kaori there because nobody expected the chairman's daughter to hang out with someone like Yuuya. She tells them to stop treating her differently, and the group starts shopping like normal friends. After Yuuya buys a travel bag, Shingo notices a cute doll inside a claw machine, so Yuuya offers to win it for him. Using the precise hand control he trained in the other world, he spots the weak point and grabs the doll easily. Seeing that, Keed drags him over to win a plushie for her too. Soon everyone is treating Yuuya like their personal prize machine, and he genuinely feels happy helping them. Later, the girls go shopping for clothes while the boys head to the cafeteria. None of them notice a broken wire upstairs starting to spark. As they relax, a fire suddenly breaks out where the girls are. Without thinking twice, Yuuya runs straight upstairs. When he reaches the fire, he realizes he needs magic to survive. He quickly wraps his body in a water bubble and rushes inside to search for survivors. He finds the 3 girls collapsed in a corner from lack of oxygen. After checking the rest of the floor and confirming no one else is there, he carries all 3 of them out. But the flames block every exit, leaving him trapped. With no other choice, he uses a powerful spell to break through the building. Outside, Ryu and the others are arguing with the rescue team, trying to go back inside. Suddenly, Yuuya blasts down through multiple floors using a shatter spell and emerges with the girls. The firefighters scold him for risking his life, while Kaori's father thanks him for saving his daughter. Watching Kaori hug her father in relief, Yuuya feels a quiet ache, remembering he never had that kind of love. But when he gets home, Knight jumps into his arms full of excitement, and Yuuya realizes he still has someone who sees him as family. A few days later, Yuuya starts practicing a teleportation spell that lets him return to places he's already seen. With this, he can still come home during school breaks to feed Knight, so he doesn't have to worry anymore. After that, the two of them head out for their usual exploration. They check out a cave, grab all the loot, and walk out of the dark area. Yuuya thinks it's about time to go back home and get ready for the camping trip, but suddenly Knight runs off somewhere. When Yuuya follows him, Knight warns him to hide his presence because someone dangerous is nearby. Up ahead, a group of goblins has surrounded a young girl. Yuuya almost runs in to help, but Knight pulls him back, so he watches from the bushes instead. Just then, the girl suddenly vanishes and slices off a goblin's arm using thin, sharp strings. The goblin screams and the others charge at her. She blocks their attacks, but they still slam her against a tree and prepare to finish her. That's when Yuuya finally jumps in and defeats their leader in one blow. But immediately, a whole swarm of goblins comes crawling out from everywhere. Yuuya pulls out his master whip and gives it a single swing. The whip wraps around all the goblins and pops them like balloons. Even Yuuya is shocked by how strong it is. After the fight, he tries to carry the injured girl back home, but Knight refuses to let her inside. A little later, the girl wakes up and struggles to get out of Yuuya's arms, but he gives her a healing potion made from a cure-all herb. She gets suspicious that he even has something so rare, but after thinking for a bit, she drinks it. Once her wounds heal, the girl introduces herself as Luna. Yuuya asks what she was doing in such a dangerous forest. She says she was training, then asks him the same thing. Yuuya awkwardly says he was training too, and she looks surprised. She apologizes for making him carry her when she was all sweaty from the fight, so Yuuya lets her use his portable bath. When she finds out he got it from a crystal deer, Luna gets shocked, but Yuuya reminds her she's been fighting strong monsters too. Luna then explains she normally doesn't come to such dangerous places, but she had a mission today. Yuuya gets confused, so she quickly changes the subject and asks him to train with her. Yuuya doesn't want her getting hurt again, so he agrees. While they train, Yuuya learns new survival tricks from her. After a few days, Luna becomes strong enough to beat goblin elites on her own. Yuuya praises her, but she says she still needs to get much stronger to complete her mission. Yuuya tells her it will be their last day training because he has a camping trip coming up. Luna looks sad for a moment, but thanks him for everything. Later in the real world, Yuuya boards the bus with his friends. He's exhausted from all the fighting in the Ice Sky world, so he falls asleep right away. When they arrive, he wakes up to see a massive hotel waiting for them. Sawada gathers everyone in a huge hall and explains how the camping will work. They'll spend 2 days and 1 night outside in the wild. Ryu asks how they're supposed to get food. Sawada casually tells them to fish or pick edible mushrooms, which completely shocks him. Keed says it's too dangerous to let students eat random mushrooms, so Sawada tells her to bring everything to her first. Then she adds that even if someone gets poisoned, their creepy Dr. Yomakawa will cure them. Yuuya notices the strange doctor waving around a weird potion and gets surprised. Keed whispers that Yomakawa does secret experiments in her basement all the time. Akira decides he's not eating anything from the wild, but Sawada announces that students will receive real grades based on how well they gather food. Some kids think they'll just sleep inside the hotel anyway, but Sawada kicks everyone out, saying only teachers get rooms. Basically homeless for the night, Yuuya's group heads out. He goes fishing with Keed while Akira and Ryu go mushroom hunting. But when they reach the lake, all the good fishing spots are already taken. Keed gives up and suggests they hunt mushrooms instead. Yuuya tries something different and uses his magic sense to find a hidden spot packed with fish. Keed gets excited, but says the water is too shallow for their fishing rods. Yuuya just smiles, walks into the water, and remembers Luna's lesson about feeling a monster's movement. Using that, he easily grabs a fish with his bare hands, then another and another until the bucket is full. In his mind, he quietly thanks Luna. Meanwhile, somewhere in the Ice Sky world, Luna stands alone in a dark room. She tests her strings on training dummies and notices they've grown sharper after training with Yuuya. Thinking about his face, she wishes she could see him again. But she puts on her mask and reminds herself she's still an assassin from the Dark Guild and her journey isn't over yet. Back in the real world, Yuuya and Keed finally meet up with Akira and Rin, who spread all the herbs they gathered on a table. Yuuya removes a poisonous mushroom from the pile and then realizes something important. None of them actually know how to cook, so they decide to take everything to their teachers first. When Sawada looks at the ingredients, she praises them like crazy, saying they collected the perfect stuff for a good meal. But deep down, she's already thinking about the bonus she'll get from the school for bringing in rare ingredients. Then she asks if anyone in their group can cook, and everyone just points at Yuuya. Later that night, Yuuya fries the fish they caught, and the flavor shocks everyone. They even start wondering if he's really human or something else entirely. But Sawada goes absolutely nuts over his cooking. She asks him to marry her on the spot, saying she needs a house husband who'll do the chores like a loyal maid. The teachers try to stop her before she ruins her career, but the desperate old lady still tries her luck with her handsome student. When Yuuya returns home through a portal, Knight is waiting quietly like a good boy. As Yuuya feeds him, he feels happy that something as simple as cooking can make people smile. Once Knight is done eating, Yuuya goes back to camp to take a shared bath. In the bath, all the boys get distracted by Yuuya's Chad-like body. Meanwhile, in the girls' bath, they gossip about Sawada trying to marry him, which instantly grabs Kaori's attention. But Keed suddenly says she'll steal Yuuya away using her feminine charm, which makes Kaori look down at herself in panic. Outside, someone secretly messes with all the students' camps during the night. The next morning, everyone wakes up to damaged or missing belongings. Akira freezes when he sees a huge footprint on the ground, but his group calls him back to help gather breakfast ingredients. While looking for herbs, Yuuya notices Akira staring at a tree covered in claw marks. Reading his thoughts, Yuuya realizes the marks were made by a giant bear, and as if on cue, the same bear shows up in front of the girls, making them scream their lungs out. They run back toward the camp, and the bear charges after them, smashing everything in its way. Sawada quickly pulls Yuuya's group behind a big fixed bench, which distracts the bear for a moment. They all run again, but Sawada trips and falls. As the bear swings its claws at her, Yuuya rushes back and stops it from turning his teacher into a shredded sandbag. The bear tries to slash him, but Yuuya dodges and grapples it. After a tough struggle, he throws the bear straight into the ground and defeats it in front of everyone's wide eyes. He asks Sawada if she's okay, and she nods with tears, thanking him for saving her life. As thanks, she again offers to become his wife, and he rejects her again without hesitation. Then Yuuya asks what they'll do with the unconscious bear, and she explains that the police will come soon. Kaori runs over just in time and helps the officers restrain the bear. Then she says the school actually authorized her to capture it as a guard animal for the campsite. Keed nervously asks what happens if the bear goes wild, and Kaori calmly says he'll be turned into bear soup. After the camping trip ends, Yuuya returns to the Ice-Sky world to visit Lexia's palace. While waiting, he sees a group of red ogres heading toward her kingdom, so he picks up a huge hammer and wipes them out. From the drop, he gets a dark mask. Meanwhile, a tiny bunny watches everything from a tree as Lexia's forces arrive. Seeing Yuuya waiting for her, Lexia steps out and thanks him for accepting her invitation. Suddenly, Knight tackles her, shocking everyone until they notice a tree falling right where she was standing. Owen gets angry that Yuuya's dog attacked his princess, but Yuuya explains Knight was only protecting her. Yuuya wonders who set the trap, while somewhere nearby a masked Luna tries to escape. Yuuya finds her immediately and knocks her down. He gets shocked realizing Luna was the one trying to assassinate Lexia. When the princess walks over, Yuuya tells her everything. He sighs, realizing that Knight knew Luna was an assassin this whole time, but didn't want to hurt his feelings. Yuuya then asks Lexia if he can take Luna back to his house and treat her wounds. He doesn't want her to get executed without knowing the truth behind her mission. Lexia nods calmly, and when Owen comes to check on her, she simply says she'll spend the rest of the day at Yuuya's home instead. After Yuuya takes Luna back home, he sits with Lexia and explains what kind of relationship he has with her. Lexia quietly nods but keeps staring at him like she's confused how he teleported straight inside his own house. Yuuya just says he used a teleport spell, and that almost makes her explode. She reminds him that teleport spells are supposed to be legends, not something a random guy explains casually. She warns him that if anyone finds out, the whole world will lose its mind. Then she tells Luna to stop pretending to sleep, and Luna slowly sits up like she got caught stealing snacks. Yuuya asks why she even became an assassin, and Luna explains everything in a quiet voice. She grew up with no family, no home, nothing at all. She had to steal just to survive. One day, an assassin found her, taught her how to read, write, and fight, and basically raised her into the dangerous world she lives in now. Lexia listens and realizes Luna is from the Dark Guild, the criminal group everyone hates. Luna says she joined because of her master, and that's how she became the famous headhunter. Even Lexia gets shocked because she's heard that name before. Yuuya even asks Knight if he knew all this from the start, and Knight just nods like it was obvious. Luna then tells Lexia straight up that she originally came to assassinate her. She kneels and asks Lexia to decide her fate, because either way the Dark Guild is going to kill her since she failed the mission. Yuuya gets upset hearing she might lose her life, but Luna reminds him they only trained together for a short time, so he shouldn't feel attached. She's completely ready to die, but Lexia suddenly asks why she thinks she's dying at all. Then Lexia shocks everyone by telling Luna to become her personal bodyguard. Luna freezes and Yuuya just stares. Lexia explains that only the three of them know the truth, so the kingdom won't execute her if they all stay quiet. Luna refuses, saying she doesn't deserve mercy because she's a criminal, but Lexia stays stubborn like a princess who already made up her mind. She even grabs Luna's arm and says it would be a waste to lose a pretty girl like her. Luna blushes and says her skin is soft only because of Yuuya's bath, but then remembers she's supposed to be serious and tells Lexia she still can't work for her. Lexia instantly declares that since Luna failed to defeat her, she has no right to argue anymore and must accept becoming her guard. Luna is stunned but eventually nods. But then Lexia suddenly asks how Luna knows about Yuuya's bath. Luna explains, and Lexia's eyes shine like she just discovered treasure. She drags Luna away to try the luxury bath with her. While walking, she casually asks Luna if she likes Yuuya. Luna acts like she doesn't at all, but Lexia sees through her. Since Luna denies it, Lexia says she's free to marry Yuuya then. Luna panics so hard she almost falls over. Lexia laughs and tells her she's clearly in love with Yuuya, but that's fine because they'll fight fair and square for his heart. Just like that, they become rivals in love. Later, the girls return from the bath and Lexia says she'll cook for everyone. Of course, the princess cooks like a preschool kid, so Yuuya steps in to save dinner. Somehow, the meal turns into another competition for his attention, and he ends up feeding both of them like he's babysitting two hungry cats. After dinner, they all crash and fall asleep together, while Yuuya lies there exhausted from all the chaos. Morning comes and Yuuya heads back to the forest to send Lexia home. Owen feels relieved seeing his princess alive and thanks Knight for saving her yesterday. Then he notices Luna standing behind them and asks who she is. Lexia casually says, "Oh her, she's the assassin who tried to kill me." The guards panic instantly and point their swords at Luna. Lexia tells everyone to relax because she already took Luna as her personal guard. Owen can't understand why she'd trust such a dangerous assassin, so Lexia explains they talked everything out and even slept together last night, so if Luna wanted her dead, she could have done it already. Owen's jaw nearly hits the ground, but he agrees to spare Luna. Yuuya then tells Owen he won't be able to visit the palace anymore because school is starting soon. Owen almost faints thinking how he's going to explain all of this to the king, but tells Yuuya to visit whenever he's free. As the carriage leaves, Luna says goodbye to Yuuya, knowing it will be a long time before they meet again. After that, Yuuya goes to relax at a peaceful lake. He wonders why girls keep fighting over him, but decides to think about it later. He steps into the lake to enjoy a bath with Knight, but then notices a cute pig casually soaking beside them. The system tells him he somehow already tamed it. Yuuya uses appraisal and learns the pig's name is Maojo. He asks it to use its skill, and the little guy releases a calming aura that speeds up healing. Impressed, Yuuya lifts the pig and gives it the name Akatsuki. Knight then pulls out a clock reminding him that school is about to start. Yuuya panics and rushes home, barely making it to class on time. Sawada announces that the school will have a ball game competition soon, so everyone should do their best so she can get a bonus. After class, they all head to the field and start football practice. During the match, Ryu dominates everyone like usual, but then Akira steals the ball from him and charges straight toward the goal. He fires a perfect curve shot, but sadly for him, Yuuya is the goalkeeper and stops it easily. Since Yuuya doesn't know the rules, he just stands there confused until Ryu tells him to throw the ball back. Yuuya nods and throws it, but the ball flies so fast it shoots straight into the enemy team's goal. Everyone freezes and stares at him like he just broke physics. Even though Yuuya basically destroys everyone in football, he ends up choosing the ping pong team for the class competition. After school, a director suddenly shows up and tries to recruit Yuuya into his modeling agency, but Yuuya turns him down. He feels like he doesn't have time to be a model while studying. The director gets annoyed at his assistant because he was hoping Yuuya would sign something. Not long after, Miyu walks in and tells the director to chill, shocking almost everyone including Yuuya. Then Kaori comes running out of nowhere to grab a stray flyer, but the director picks it up first. After reading about the ball game event, he decides he'll just take candid photos of Yuuya during the competition, so he doesn't have to force him into the agency. Later, Yuuya heads back to the Ice Sky world and finishes a brutal fight against an undead monster. As he relaxes with his pets, he realizes the monsters are getting stronger way too fast. So he goes deeper into the forest to train more, and the atmosphere suddenly feels different and unsettling. Yuuya warns his pets to stay alert, but then a massive pig appears in front of him. For a moment, he thinks Akatsuki transformed, but then he sees the real Akatsuki standing behind him. Before he can react, the giant pig slams into him and sends him flying. Yuuya gets seriously injured. His pets rush forward, but he stops them, fearing the mithril boar would kill them instantly. He tries to use a potion, but the boar keeps interrupting him. Just as he starts losing hope, a voice echoes from the darkness and blasts the boar straight into a tree. Yuuya looks up and sees a tiny rabbit. The rabbit nods like it's nothing before going all out and defeating the powerful boar by itself. It even smashes through several super strong trees like paper. When Yuuya uses appraisal, he learns it's a special creature called the kick rabbit. The rabbit tells Yuuya to show him his kicks, but Akatsuki jumps forward first. The poor pig completely fails. The rabbit then notices potential in Knight and Yuuya and demonstrates a devastating kick that tears through rows of blackwood trees. Yuuya copies the movement and actually manages to break a huge tree on his own, which shocks him. Out of nowhere, the kick rabbit challenges him to a fight. Yuuya spends the entire night dodging and surviving the battle. By morning, he finally asks why the rabbit is training him so hard. That's when the rabbit says he already chose Yuuya as his apprentice. As they head home together, the rabbit explains he's one of the divine beings chosen by the planet for overwhelming power. Their duty is to protect innocent people from the vile creatures born from negative emotions. Yuuya asks if he's allowed to refuse becoming the rabbit's successor. The rabbit says yes, but warns him that if he doesn't grow strong enough, the vile could wipe everything out. Yuuya refuses to become a successor, but asks to train under him to protect the people he cares about. The rabbit respects his resolve and agrees with no conditions. Feeling guilty about receiving such valuable training, Yuuya offers something in return. Since his barrier magic blocks anyone with evil intent, the rabbit asks to learn it. Yuuya agrees. For training, the rabbit takes him outside and forces him to fight a king mithril boar. He explains the vile are far stronger than this monster, so Yuuya needs to grow fast. Yuuya struggles while his pets can only watch. In the end, he wraps his whip around the boar, lifts it high, and slams it down hard enough to defeat it. Right after the fight, Yuuya receives SS rank drops. The kick rabbit warns him that even stronger enemies exist, SSS ranked, X ranked, and above all the vile at the terrifying legend rank. Suddenly, Yuuya's system triggers an evolution, and the rabbit says the timing is perfect. After evolving, Yuuya notices his body looks the same, but he gained many new skills. The rabbit leaves satisfied and Yuuya returns to the real world. The next day at the ball game competition, Yuuya faces a huge middle-aged man on the ping pong court. Somehow the guy is on a high school team. The teachers whisper that he's actually the national ping pong champion known as the Sniper. He proves it by serving an insanely fast ball Yuuya can't even react to. Yuuya sighs, thinking this is nothing compared to the monsters he fought. When he serves back, the ball moves so fast it snaps the table in half. Realizing he'll draw too much attention, he immediately forfeits and leaves. As he tries to escape, Keed grabs him and drags him to replace their injured volleyball teammate. The director follows, snapping photos non-stop. When Yuuya spikes the ball, the entire net collapses and the opposing team instantly forfeits. Yuuya gets depressed again, thinking he ruined everything. Suddenly, screams erupt near the tennis courts and Kaori begs Yuuya for help. Their teammate is carried away on a stretcher, warning Yuuya about the enemy's serve. Yuuya and Kaori step onto the court and he decides to hold back. Kaori's serve is awful and nearly takes people out, which makes Yuuya realize their teammate was injured by her clumsiness. Once the match begins, Yuuya carefully controls his strength. They enjoy a tough back and forth until Yuuya lands the winning shot. Kaori stumbles and Yuuya catches her just as the director snaps a perfect romantic photo. After the tournament, Kaori shyly asks Yuuya to walk home with her, thanking him for everything. Meanwhile, the director sits in his office holding his new masterpiece, which is basically just a pile of Yuuya's photos. He thinks that if he releases another hit featuring Yuuya, the attention will get so big that Yuuya will have no choice but to join the agency. Back at school, Yuuya is stressing over his upcoming exams, so Kaori suggests they study together at his house. While they study, she goes to use the bathroom but accidentally walks into the hidden room with the ice sky gate. Yuuya rushes after her, panicking a bit, and explains that the gate leads to another world where he gained all his crazy abilities. To prove it, he shows her a water ball spell and explains that everything impossible he did in the real world came from this power. Kaori gets extremely curious, so Yuuya decides to take her inside for a quick look. As soon as they enter, her stat window appears and Yuuya gets shocked because her starting stats are way higher than his were when he first arrived. He remembers how overweight and weak he used to be and suddenly feels guilty, like he cheated by using this world to change himself. But Kaori doesn't care about any of that. She just wants to see more. Yuuya explains that the area outside the barrier is too dangerous right now, so he promises to give her a proper tour another time. She makes him swear to take her sightseeing someday and Yuuya agrees, but also asks her to keep everything about this world a secret. Kaori misunderstands and thinks their relationship just became special, which completely confuses Yuuya. Embarrassed, she decides to head home early to continue studying. Meanwhile, at Arcelia Castle, the king asks Owen why Yuuya isn't with him. Luna steps forward and bluntly says Yuuya was delayed because she tried to assassinate the princess. The king explodes with rage and immediately tries to kill her, but Luna blocks his attack effortlessly, shocking him with her strength. Lexia yells at her father for attacking her beloved bodyguard and threatens to hate him forever if he doesn't stop. That alone freezes the king, and he backs down, sparing Luna's life. After that, he asks Owen how Lexia even survived such a dangerous assassin. Owen explains that Yuuya saved her and later took both girls to his house. Hearing that his precious daughter stayed at a man's house, the king snaps again and declares he'll execute Yuuya for touching Lexia. Owen keeps insisting nothing happened, but the king keeps shouting anyway. Elsewhere, the first prince receives news that Luna failed her mission and instead became Lexia's bodyguard. Even so, he's confident he can still take the throne. He hands a messenger a magic sealing barrier item and says his squad can handle killing Lexia without interference. When asked what happens if they fail, the prince calmly says they'll just blame Yuuya. Back in the forest, Yuuya uses his school holidays to finally head toward the royal palace. Along the way, he enters a small town and notices demihumans living normally among humans. Since he has no money in this world, he goes to the merchant guild to sell some items. The clerk is shocked by Yuuya's strange identity and even suspects he might be a noble. Yuuya pulls out some peppers to sell, but the merchant gets distracted by the beautiful glass containers holding them. After checking the peppers, he offers 100 gold coins, which completely confuses Yuuya. The merchant explains that amount could feed a family of 4 for 20 years. Hearing that, Yuuya nearly drops the bag. The merchant gives him a guild card and invites him back anytime. With money secured, Yuuya boards a carriage toward the palace. By morning, they reach the royal capital and Akatsuki points toward the massive castle. Yuuya looks down at his plain white shirt and pants and realizes he's extremely underdressed. Even so, he enters the castle. Owen greets him and escorts him to the king's chamber. Yuuya almost faints when he realizes he's meeting the king dressed like this, but Owen reassures him it's an informal visit. Inside the throne room, Owen bows and the king nods back. He asks if Yuuya is the one who protected Lexia. Yuuya nods. Instantly, the king erupts and starts screaming at him for seducing his daughter. The entire court descends into chaos, trying to calm him down. After settling slightly, the king introduces himself as King Arnaud, then immediately gets angry again because Yuuya brought no gift for Lexia. Flustered, Yuuya pulls out a luxurious mattress he bought so she could sleep better. Everyone misunderstands and the room turns red with embarrassment. The king assumes Yuuya is implying something indecent and starts yelling even louder. Owen quietly explains that only married couples share beds, making Yuuya realize he just made everything worse. The king prepares to destroy him, but suddenly the atmosphere shifts. Guards rush forward as assassins appear inside the palace. They shout that they came to kill the king and Lexia, then throw out a magic sealing orb that shuts down the guards' magic instantly. Luna reacts first and captures them with her strings. Yuuya jumps in and defeats the remaining assassins using pure physical power. Seeing his strength, Lexia starts fawning over him again, which naturally makes the king explode with anger all over again. After the assassins are defeated, Owen searches their clothes and pulls out a crest. It confirms they were sent by the first prince. Owen then turns to Yuuya and asks him to help the kingdom deal with the rebellion. The way he says it puts heavy pressure on Yuuya, like he's already expecting a miracle. Later, Yuuya meets Lexia again, and she suggests exploring the royal capital together. Luna immediately objects, saying it's too dangerous, but Lexia argues that the prince can't send more assassins without exposing himself. She keeps pushing until everyone agrees and Owen quietly follows them. While Lexia and Luna start bickering over Yuuya again, he scans the area for threats. After walking for a bit, Luna notices him staring at the Adventurers Guild, so she brings him inside to register. Yuuya fills out a basic form, and the receptionist asks him to test his magic with a crystal. The moment he touches it, the crystal explodes with a sharp crack. The receptionist panics, then checks his form and freezes after realizing he can use 3 types of magic. Yuuya quietly feels relieved that he didn't reveal everything, or she might have accused him of making a demonic contract. During this, an adventurer girl named Glina gets interested in him and steps far too close. Lexia and Luna immediately pull her away, but before leaving, she casually tells Yuuya they should do quests together someday. After that, the group heads outside the city for a simple herb gathering quest in the meadows. Yuuya calmly collects herbs while the girls somehow turn it into a competition. Then Yuuya notices Owen is missing. Lexia explains he's speaking with a palace messenger. When Owen returns, he says they located the prince's hideout and need Yuuya's help. Lexia is sent back to the capital for safety, and the men move out. When they reach the hideout, everything feels unnaturally quiet. Owen assumes the guards already captured the prince, but when they open the door, a trap arrow fires and wounds a soldier. Inside, the prince is unhinged, holding a man hostage. Knight lunges in and frees him instantly. The soldier escapes while the guards surround the prince. Owen orders him to surrender, but the prince snaps, swinging wildly. Then he presses a knife to his own throat, threatening suicide because he believes nobody cares about him. Yuuya rushes forward to stop him, but the prince charges instead. Knight interferes again, giving Yuuya the opening to knock him down. Owen orders the arrest, but suddenly a strange girl smashes through the wall like it's nothing. She looks at the prince and tells him he's useless now that he failed. The prince screams, accusing her of using him for power. She calmly replies she never cared about status and only wanted the power to wipe out humanity. Before anyone can react, she grabs his dagger and tries to kill him. Owen rushes in, but a wooden arrow blocks him mid-step. Yuuya thinks another attacker arrived, but the girl turns and summons a rain of arrows herself. The guards are helpless as the barrage falls. Yuuya steps forward and creates a barrier that destroys every arrow at once. She stares at him and asks if he's the one named Yuuya. When he nods, she smiles and says she's lucky to meet him, but can't defeat him yet without using the vial's power. Owen tries to chase her, but she fires another wooden arrow to block him and then teleports away as if nothing happened. After everything that happened, Yuuya returns to the castle, and Owen invites him to attend the court meeting for the prince's punishment. When Yuuya enters the room, the guards suddenly rip off the prince's clothes, revealing countless scars across his body. The prince laughs in a broken, painful way while staring at the king and Lexia. He says it's all Lexia's fault because she once lost control of her magic and injured him. The king says those wounds should have healed by now, and the prince agrees. But he explains that Lexia's magic was too strong and something inside him changed. He developed a twisted desire for destruction, and to stop himself from hurting others, he started hurting himself instead. Over time, he destroyed his own body. He blames the king for abandoning him, but the king says there's no cure for that kind of cursed bloodlust. Even so, the prince believes he truly went insane because the king isolated him from everyone. Being alone only made his urges worse. Watching him break down like this, Yuuya remembers his own childhood and how his parents ignored him. He can't help feeling pity for the prince. When the prince begs the king to give him a quick death, Yuuya can't stay silent anymore. He steps forward and forces the prince to drink a cure-all potion. The scars vanish instantly. Shocked, the prince rushes to a mirror, unable to believe what he sees. Even with his body restored, the prince looks empty, knowing he'll still be executed for trying to kill Lexia. But Lexia suddenly steps forward and asks her father to forgive him. The king reminds her that the prince also tried to assassinate him, but she keeps insisting. She says they all share responsibility for what he became. Because of Lexia's stubborn resolve, the prince's life is spared, but all his land is taken away. After the meeting, the prince thanks Yuuya for saving him. The king wonders how he can repay such a priceless potion. The prince suggests giving Yuuya the confiscated land, so the king does exactly that and appoints Yuuya as a knight. After everything settles, Yuuya goes to his new mansion to rest. That night, he has a nightmare about the mysterious girl who attacked them before. In the dream, she fires endless arrows he can't block. He wakes up in fear. The next day after school, Yuuya rushes home. He keeps thinking about what the prince said about that girl. The prince met her in the Dark Guild, but never learned who she really was. Thinking about her strength and the vile, Yuuya decides he needs to get stronger and returns to the Ice Sky world to train. While training, he wonders if the Kick Rabbit knows how to defeat the Vile. Before he can ask, an attack suddenly shoots straight toward him. Yuuya grabs his pets and barely dodges. Then he hears her voice. She sounds surprised that he avoided the shot. When Yuuya asks why she's attacking him, she casually says he's simply standing in the way of her revenge. Yuuya hides Akatsuki and prepares to fight. She unleashes another storm of arrows. Yuuya jumps to evade them, but she already predicts his movement and aims again. Meanwhile, Kaori arrives at Yuuya's house to study. Not finding him, she wanders into the Ice Sky world and notices distant explosions. Back at the fight, Yuuya still can't understand why she wants him dead, but she refuses to explain. Yuuya teams up with Knight and together they land a kick on her. She's shocked they even managed to touch her and decides she must kill Yuuya before he grows any stronger. She fires a new arrow technique that blows apart the ground in one shot. Yuuya barely escapes and tries to counterattack, but freezes when he spots Kaori nearby. That moment gives her the opening to go all out. Yuuya struggles to block her strike with his sword. Just as she appears behind him to finish it, the kick rabbit jumps in and stops her. The rabbit calls her Yuuya and reveals she's the successor of the divine archer who was killed. Hearing her master mentioned, Yuuya snaps and declares she'll avenge him by destroying the world. The kick rabbit tries to calm her, saying her master would never want that. But Yuuya insists humans betrayed him even after he protected them. She says that betrayal alone justifies wiping everyone out. The kick rabbit argues that anger doesn't give anyone the right to decide the fate of the world. Yuuya refuses to listen and draws power from the vial. She roars and clashes with the kick rabbit. The battle shakes the area as they exchange countless blows. In the end, Yuuya overwhelms him with raw power. As Yuuya panics, Akatsuki suddenly leaps from his bag and runs into the battlefield. Ignoring Yuuya's shouts, the small pig activates a healing field. Light spreads across the area, purging the vial's influence and stripping Yuuya of her power. With her strength gone, the kick rabbit signals Yuuya and he knocks her out. Holding the unconscious girl, Yuuya learns from the kick rabbit that Akatsuki is a legendary monster capable of defeating the vial. With Yuuya no longer a threat, the rabbit leaves her in Yuuya's care. After a while, Yuuya wakes up and Yuuya asks what her master was like. She says he was kind even when he didn't have to be. Then she passes out again. As Yuuya lifts her, Kaori arrives. Right behind her, a monster appears. Yuuya destroys it instantly with a single strike. Kaori freezes, stunned by how strong he's become. Yuuya panics, wondering if she's afraid of him now. He even fears she might hate him for growing so fast and using overwhelming power. But Kaori shakes her head and says he's still the same person who saved her before. Hearing that, Yuuya finally relaxes. Life slowly returns to normal. Yuuya even transfers to Yuuya's school to start over. Surrounded by friends, Yuuya smiles. And that's where the story ends. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.